faster.
Let's start. Morning,
Yeah.
everyone.
Morning.
Diane,
And just, do people know how to unmute themselves? Why don't we explain that? Because you're muted when you join.
So I see a bunch of people who are not muted.
Yeah.
And Alex, I think you, as the administrator, you can unmute them too.
uh, right now I'm in this screen sharing mode,
If you look
and
at participants, then they,
so I have a different, yeah, yeah, potentially I can unmute them, but I would not know whom to unmute if somebody is talking.
yeah,
Somebody will
right,
say
right.
something, yeah, and
Well,
it's
we
muted.
could unmute everyone and just tell them to mute their phones.
So we have Andrew and CGG muted. Andrew Tang.
Yeah. Can people see at the top of their screens the meeting participants,
I
or if you
unmuted
click on the
everyone.
bottom, you should be able. Okay.
I
Okay.
unmuted
Good.
everyone except Gabriel. Gabriel knows how to unmute.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Okay.
All right. So then I would ask everyone to please mute your phones so we don't get background noise.
All right. So good morning, everyone, and thank you for making it at this early hour. So today we continue with our uh, technical advisory committee and user group webinars on the tool that we call Operation Planning Toolbox, or PT. Uh, so let me see if I can control my presentations. Uh, First, we will discuss briefly some user feedback that we have received from people who are using the tool already and who are about to start using it. Then we will discuss some of the new features that we are about to are developed recently. And then we want to take some time to discuss uh, how we can engage with each of you individually, and maybe see how we can help with your projects and so on. Uh, and that will be in the items 3 and 4 discussion of our next steps. Next steps will mostly be about features that will appear next. And item 4 is this important discussion. Uh, so we are very close to already running simulations in the current version of the tool, but we cannot right now. We just do simulation control. We still cannot see simulation results. Next time, we already plan to be at the point when we can run the simulation and see what comes out. So some of the feedback, we had very fruitful discussions with Sam and Nicholas from District 5, and so they pointed us to some of the bugs with saving of the parameters that we fixed, and also had some wish list with respect to how to uh, with respect to the navigation tree, with respect to how to set up begin and end time of simulations and demand profiles and such. And also, one of the items that they pointed out, they wanted to have to be able to set off-ramp flows as opposed to how it is done right now in the software when we set percentages of traffic that are diverted to particular off ramps. So right now Gabriel and I are discussing how to better implement that option of setting up flows on the off-ramps as opposed to split ratios, or rather generate a tool that from off-ramp flows would compute split ratios and set the split ratios in the parameter folder. Uh, uh, Things that we still need to do, uh, on your screen, what you see, the blue items, these are the things that we already addressed, and in black, we still have the to-dos. Uh, Today, we are not going to discuss managed lane policies, but this is one of the important items that people would like to see in the software, how to set up uh, time varying policies for HOV and HOTs. HOT facilities, and also for such things as shoulder opening at a given time for a given period. One other things, two other things that we just received an email from Sam 2 days ago. Uh, he was asking about what we do with calibration. And on this topic, originally we did not plan to have it in the current version of the OPT, any calibration facilities. However, something that Sam brought up here was something that we could either address partially uh, or figure out how to make an improvement on it and propose as a next step after this version. But I wanted to return to this question when we go into discussion in the end of our session today, to see how we can help with projects and also features, wish lists, and what we are missing maybe. So we haven't forgotten about this. This is on our items list, but we will come to this in the end of the session today. All right? Any questions, comments so far?
Alex, do you want to have everybody introduce themselves, or does everybody know each other?
Well, it wouldn't harm. Let's run around the table. I don't think so. I'm Alex Kurzhansky. I work at PATH, and there is
I'm
Gabriel
Gabriel
Gomez.
Gomez.
Yes,
I also
yep,
work at Path.
yes. So Tarek, now you. So
I'm Tarek Hatata, System Metrics Helping Path. Shall we go
And
district by
I'm Diane
district?
Jacobs. Yeah, we should. I'm Diane Jacobs, headquarters, Caltrans. Let's start with anyone from District 1. I don't think there is. Okay, 2. District 3. District 4. Okay, I know there are people from District 5.
Bento.
And Nicholas Engel.
Hi. District 6. Okay, I know District 7 is here. Andy? I see Andy Ting. I don't know if he's muted, but okay, District 8.
District 4, just on the chat, it said Kuhong Chung is there.
Okay. District 8. 9, District 10,
Are they running under 2?
District 11, District 12. Okay, Andy just texted he has microphone issues. So Andy Ting from District 7, I guess he can hear.
This is Bill McCullough from
okay.
SMG.
How they do with their OE?
Hi.
I'll take their OE.
So is there anyone, so you,
Because we're moving.
is there anyone, Tarek, did you say District 4 was there?
Yeah, Kuhong
Somebody from-
Chung. If you look at the
Okay.
chat bubble and
Yeah.
click on it,
Okay.
you'll see S13228 saying I only have access to audio. Nick Zangle
Okay.
said I'm muted, and District 4, Kuhong said he's here.
And I don't. Did you guys hear me? This is Bill with SMG. Bill McCullough.
Hi, Bill.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Kuhong. So, okay.
Okay, thanks everyone who's here. Okay, Alex.
All right. So let's go. New features. Again, this is to remind where to download the latest version from and what to do with it once you download it. And then we come to the tutorial session. I think from now on I switch to the actual screen of OPT. What we plan to do there in the tutorial, you will see webinar 3 and 4. Basically, this webinar 3 is the configuration file that we ended up with during our last session. We opened the scenario, and here we have the road sections. What changed since last time? It was a request from District 5 that we make the sections more distinct so that we can distinguish on-ramps and off-ramps. That's what we can do right now. So we have freeway sections, and we have on-ramps, and we have off-ramps. Now, in the scenario, we now have the simulation run button. So once the data are already in place, we can run the simulation, and the way it is going to be done, you go to in the tree right now, you go to scenario and press the run button, and then here you see the progress bar at the bottom when scenario runs, and in the bottom left corner you see the status update. Once the scenario is completed, once the simulation is completed, it takes a relatively short time to complete. The screen automatically will switch to reports, and here you will see some of the graphics reporting about the simulation outcome. And what will happen is that right now you're on the scenario level, you will be able to navigate the tree. Right now, none of this is there, none of the plots are there. But eventually what will happen is that you navigate the same tree and you will see the results on the scenario level. This will be a network level results. On each segment level, you will see segment level results. For example, input flows, output flows, what were the speeds in the segment, and so on, and other performance measures such as the common ones like vehicle miles traveled, hours traveled, and also the emissions and such that we discussed back in the summer, those performance measures. But we will in our one of our next TAC meetings, we will discuss which performance measures will be present. So the contour plots will be seen on the route. So right now routes are not implemented, but in the routes you will see contour plots for given routes. So you will be able to build uh, routes yourself. What it means is that even for a simple linear network that goes from point A to point B on a single freeway, you can build a route that does not span the whole network but is much smaller so that you can look at a particular sub sections of your freeways, of your total freeways. So that is the this is the simulation
Alex,
control.
can we
Yes,
see where you set the start time and the duration?
yes. So, so all the settings are here, and here you can set the simulation start time and duration. What may happen is that you're only interested in the period, let's say from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. So this is what you do. You will be able to change this here, and so your results will be reported accordingly for this period of time. Uh, so right now, when you specify traffic demand, the demand goes from 0 hours to 24 by default. But what will happen here, you will be able to also change. Right now, you cannot change the time here. What you could do, one way to specify your demand, you can specify zeros from 0 to 15 hours, and then actual demand from going from 15 to 19. But what we plan to do is just right in this table, you will be able to edit the time and change this, and it will automatically change all the other entries accordingly so that you can have a start time 15 hours right here. That's what we plan to do. Anyway, right now we come to controllers. A new uh, option appeared. Now you can set ramp meters. So right now, controllers are only present on ramps, because if you click on the main line, um, freeway section, you see that controllers are disabled. They will be enabled when we implement managed lanes policies for managed lanes, HOT, HOV, and such. Then you will see the controllers will be enabled, and you will see some options to set up those. Right now, you can see those only on ramps, where you can set up ramp metering. If you open controllers initially, you start with a blank table. There is nothing there. And in order to do something interesting, you need to add a controller. So you click an add button, add controller button, and you choose. Right now we have two controllers, but we keep talking to individual districts and see what this, for instance, people in given districts want, what control policies they have on their freeways, what they're interested in modeling, and we will add these algorithms here. Right now, these are the two options that you have, and so if you choose one, you also have a checkbox called managed lanes. What it means is if you check it, then this controller will be working on a managed lane. Let me cancel it and remind you what we have here. On this on-ramp, if you see, we have one managed lane. You see that black one. And if we don't have any managed lanes on the on-ramps and go to controllers and try to add a controller, this option, managed lanes, will be disabled. So you cannot set any control because you don't have any managed lanes. But if you do, so if you do have a managed lane, some most often it is an HOV lane on the on-ramp, and you add a controller, you have an option that you set this controller on a managed lane. If you uncheck this, it means that your controller is set on a general purpose lane. And then you click OK, and after that, here is your controller editor, which asks you from when to when you want this controller to be active. For instance, we want to start at 5 a.m. and go till 10 a.m. Here you set your minimum rate, your maximum rate. Invocation period, what that means is how often does your controller update its rate? You can set it, uh, this is this parameter is set in seconds. Uh, in this particular case, it's Alinea. It's a feedback controller, so it takes the readings uh, of, of traffic measurements from the freeway main line and then adjusts its rate accordingly. So now when you say that the invocation period is 30 seconds, it means that every 30 seconds it will read the measurements on the main line and recompute its rate. If you do it if you do something like this, then that would mean that the rate that is set, it is set for an hour, and the new rate will appear an hour later. Queue control. This is the option that says, do we want or not to have a queue override policy? What that means is that when the queue becomes too long, mostly this is about the queue length is compared with the length of the ramp. So if the number of vehicles becomes, in our estimate, exceeds the length of the ramp, that's when the queue control is supposed to kick in. And what queue control will do is that this is your maximum rate. Your rate, this is your minimum rate. So Alinea is computing the rate in this range. When the queue control is on and the queue exceeds its limit, the controller jumps to maximum rate. And this until the queue is reduced, it works at maximum rate. What else for Alinea? Since it's a
So a couple of things, Alex. Sorry, this is Tarek. Maybe I should have told you this earlier. So I think at least in District 4 and Kuhong, you can type if you agree.
There's
I was told that the maximum is 900.
Fine.
Because that would mean, I think, 4 seconds.
The default parameters will be adjusted. We'll make it.
Okay.
We'll make it right now. The defaults are some values, but then we will make the defaults.
We'll change the defaults. Okay.
User adjustable, and
okay.
different districts may have different maximum rates. So
right. Unless they do all green or something. But the other thing I was going to tell you, for the managed lane on the ramp, you may want to, just for linguistic purpose, call it bypass managed lane or something like that, just to be consistent with the lingo that is generally used for the HOV bypass lanes.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks for these comments. Yeah, and so the final thing that I wanted to mention was this road section with detector. If you recall, we are looking at the Buchanan to Gilman section, and uh, and the on ramp that is in the beginning of this section. So where do we get the feedback from? Are we getting it from the section that is downstream of the on ramp or upstream of the on ramp? So this is your option. Because again, in different districts, detector locations may be different. Okay, so we click and we see that now ramp meter appeared in our table. In order to edit it, you just double click, you go back, and you may edit the time and start it at 6 o'clock or so, and so forth. Right now, bypass managed lanes, and instead you do fixed straight something. In the fixed straight, it's almost the same. Q control, when Q control is invoked and Q limit is exceeded, then the controller switches to maximum rate. Otherwise, fixed rate is set to some preferred rate. For example. So you probably got the idea. So here TOD means time of day. It's at least a couple of years ago, District 4 was using controller called TOS, which I don't know what it stands for, but it was a lookup table. This lookup table would set up a metering rate according to some flows or occupancies measured on the main line. But then later, the claim is that on I-80, they use fuzzy logic, but they do not have the fuzzy logic algorithm. So I don't know where to get this algorithm. If anybody has it, please let us know. And if you want this algorithm to be implemented, uh, send us the description how it works.
I can try, Alex. This is Tarek. I can ask David Mann to see if he's willing to share it.
Okay, thank you. Otherwise, so I believe when we talked with Sam, Sam in District 5, he mentioned that, Sam, correct me if I'm wrong. Do I recall correctly that in District 5, the ramp metering works as a lookup table, and then if the detectors do not work or the congestion exceeds certain threshold, then you switch to fixed rate.
Yes, that's how we operate in our district.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, then I remember correctly. So this is what we have in District 5. In District 7, I had an initial conversation with Andy Tang, but I will have some more interactions with him to find out when we get to that point what ramp metering they want. Andy, do you want to chip in and say what sort of ramp metering is the most important for District 7? I don't know if maybe his audio doesn't work. Okay. So that's that. Finally, what people should not forget is to save their work, which is save as or save. when I did this tutorial and did the screenshots for the presentation that you find in the either in your email or in the package that you download with the OPT, there is this PDF tutorial. I said it in webinar 4, the outcome of these experiments. All right. So this is it, I guess, for now. Again, the network that we are presenting in our online sessions is this small stretch of I-80 freeway going from Buchanan to University Avenue with the connector to 580. So it's actually two freeways that we have here, from 580 that merges with I-80 around Buchanan. And in the slides that my all of these screens are there. The next steps of our development will be enable for the users to build routes, so that the routes are important mostly for simulation results analysis, so that you can look at particular sub-segments of your freeway, and also distinguish between HOV and GP traffic, for instance, or HOT. And then do the managed lane policy configuration. Other ramp meters, we will ask questions right now. Please speak up about the ramp metering algorithms that you want to be implemented. Like the one I mentioned will be another one that I mentioned we will implement will be the lookup table. Tarek said that he may ask about the fuzzy logic. We will, if we get the algorithm, we will implement that. And also, my question to other districts like District 7 and 11 maybe, what ramp metering they use there and what are they interested in testing?
So Alex, let's talk about that for a sec if everybody is interested. So right now you've coded, you have Alinea, right?
Yes.
Do you have anything else like time of day?
Yes, it's fixed rate.
Right.
Basically, I just showed you that what that entails is when you set TOD, this is from 6 to 10, it means that this will be a fixed rate from this time to this time, from start time to end time. And then you can add another entry.
Okay. How about the other algorithms around the state? There is SDRMS. I don't know if anybody's still using it.
That's why I'm posing this question. So I don't know all the algorithms that people are using in different districts.
I know District 7. I'm not sure if you're still using it. You used to have something called SATMs, where you have it kind of adaptive until it gets too congested, then you turn to fixed. I don't know if Andrew knows that or whether you're not using that anymore.
I don't know.
Is Andrew still there?
Andrew, are you there? Or I don't recall. Somebody had problems with audio.
He's there and he's hooked up, but maybe not. Maybe he stepped out or something.
What about Swarm? Are people still using Swarm?
So at least my understanding of Swarm, there was Swarm 1 and Swarm 2, is that the algorithm is not available for sharing, but that may have changed too. It's kind of an intellectual property thing.
Back in the day, I had a document that described the algorithm, Delcan document.
Yeah.
I still have it, but it may have, evolved since then.
Yeah.
If you still
I think they did something called Swarm 2, and I'm not sure what it is, but I know that I guess Parsons now don't like to just give the code out because it's their own algorithm.
Yes, Swarm 2 is already a couple of years old at least.
Yeah.
So I heard about it some years ago.
Yeah. But anyhow, I think the districts should, if you are not familiar with what ramp metering algorithm your district is using, maybe shoot an email to somebody that would know and let Alex know, so we don't deliver a product that cannot simulate your actual algorithm.
It is quiet. One thing that is bad about webinars is that we do not get the feedback from people. And when you see the audience, at least somebody nods quietly, you see the eyes. When in the webinar without feedback, it's difficult to see if people were listening or paying attention or not. So that is why we are going to request one-on-one sessions with some of the district representatives, and we'll talk with them about it once again. So we will reiterate the questions about the ramp metering algorithms and also about the managed lane policies. Again, for example, when we talked with District 5, Sam told me that there will be a time uh, time varying policy on the HOV lane where people can go during rush hour, I guess.
Yeah,
And also
that's a shoulder lane. A shoulder lane.
a shoulder lane.
Yes.
But that I remember too. So and also, but you have the HOV lane there or not?
Um, we uh, we only have a very short portion down in Santa Barbara, but right now we are building through Santa Barbara as we speak.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. So.
Maybe a suggestion. I don't know. Maybe Diane Jacobs can help along. Maybe send out, to solicit feedbacks on this controllers question.
I am going to do that. I just wrote myself a note to find out what controllers districts are using. I'm also going to try to recruit a few more people statewide for this effort for the TAC and user group.
Yeah.
On the controller topic, the software is very versatile. Right now, it's confined to what you see in the user interface, but there's also the possibility that you could actually write a plugin yourself. So think about if people who are interested in doing that, if you would want to say, write something in Excel or write something in Python or something that is your own controller or some software that you have, we could create connections that would allow you to plug that into the simulator. So that's another possibility.
Well, it's a little far-fetched proposal for if people will write their own, but well, but
I bet
yeah,
you there are people out there who would
yes,
who would
we have
be willing to do that.
We do not want to put any restrictions on initiatives. So Yes. So what we plan for the next time will be uh, that your run simulation will already start producing results. It will not be the full-blown fancy reports, but it will be already some plan to show you already some plots as a result as results of your simulation, so you can see what actually comes out. Uh, the utility that converts off-ramp flows to split ratios, this is on our list, and this is again at the request of District 5, so that we do not, if they do not have the percentages of traffic that go to the off-ramp, but instead they have flows, we wanted to compute those percentages from those flows. And finally, events. Events is another feature that we advertised in the beginning of our project, that we will be able to create situations such as at given time in your simulation, you have a lane loss and then you have a recovery to simulate situations such as accidents uh, or other situations or work zones for that matter. Uh, Discussion. Uh, First of all, I would like to have to ask you a question. Does anyone have a question regarding today's features? Any comments, wishes, concerns? Okay, I don't hear anything. Uh, and second, this is the most important aspect. How can we help you start developing your own project in OPT? Something that is maybe you have some CSMP or some other study that happens in your district, and we can help develop your network. If you have the data, we will show you how to put in the data. And somebody like Sam and Nicholas in District 5, they have hands-on experience with OPT. Somebody who doesn't have the hands-on experience, we may come out and sit with you and hold your hand and basically help you out at your desk to put in your configuration and data to simulate, to start simulating and modeling corridors.
District 5, we have the free queue model for the shoulder link project already completed. So I don't know if you guys are interested in using it as a sample or anything like that.
Yes, we want, yes,
to help.
yeah, basically what we are advertising here, we want you to use it. We want you to start using OPT. And what we could do, we could help you convert that model into this so that you can start looking into the results in OPT.
Yeah,
That's
because that's
very
going to be a
interesting.
pilot. Sorry.
I wonder how many such free queue models are out there that people are interested in converting to OPT.
I know that District 4 was using FreeQ, at least. I don't know if they still do, but at least some time ago. Kuhong, can you inform us about anything that you may be doing there or somebody around you may be doing with FreeQ?
And you go ahead and type it, Kuong, if you're still around. While we're waiting for Kuong to maybe give us a response, if I may, Alex, put in my 2 cents here. Alex and his team can develop the best macro simulation model out there. If we don't have people who are becoming reasonably proficient at it, it's not going to go anywhere. It's going to be a great tool, and whenever you want to use it, you're going to have to hire UC Berkeley to do it, and that defeats the purpose of what we're doing here. So even if you don't have all the data, but you have a section of the freeway in mind that you'd be interested in developing a simulation, OPT simulation model for it, within reason, I think that's what Alex is saying. We can probably do a few where we come to your office. We'll get ready by showing you how to get data from PEMS or how to get data from the traffic book and convert it, and how to get data from the different sources for configuration, and start the process of developing a model. The intent is to have as many people start becoming used to getting an OPT, and maybe that starting that up and supporting you in doing that face to face will be easier than listening to WebEx every couple of months, and then there is this tutorial that is available for you to follow and do it yourself. So I'll stop here, and you know, if you don't have an answer right now, I think, Diane, you can follow up with them and see who has the interest, if any, to have one-on-one sessions, and then we can evaluate, or Berkeley Path can evaluate how many of those we can help with. But at this rate, I don't get the feeling that there are too many districts that have actually started doing the development to where we are today, whether it is for the configuration or for the...
I think the issue is perhaps that we recruited people to be alpha testers and help develop the product. And I think we can get more people if we present a slightly further along piece of software. Okay. So what I'm wondering if something like a brief webinar that's open to anyone in Caltrans who's curious, in which you and Alex can just say, this is the current capability, and you know, please join us if you're interested, or if you have models that you want converted. And I think we can recruit some more people to the effort.
It's your call. I'm just suggesting that the folks that have already participated in 4 webinars have already some intellectual capital just listening to it, and if they want to get started and haven't started yet, we can help them. Whether they want to bring other people or not, I'm okay.
Yeah, and that's a great idea, and we should move ahead with that, immediately.
Yeah. So folks, if you're interested in something like that and you haven't started doing any configuration for a piece of your freeway or anything like that, and you're interested in having a face-to-face kind of 2-3 hour UC Berkeley or UC Berkeley team representative can come to your district, sit down with you and do it and start, so it doesn't feel like it's such big work or such a big thing to catch up to where we are. So if you haven't even coded a section of the freeway, you're not going to be able to follow necessarily, here are the simulation results. So that's my concern, is that the webinars may be moving, even though they're moving at a really appropriate rate, but maybe moving to such an extent that catching up may be difficult. And we want you to catch up. You or somebody else in your group that may be interested, maybe somebody in your forecasting group, in addition to somebody from operations. It's just an offer. It's just an offer. If you're not interested, you don't have to do that.
And I would like to add that catching up, as scary as it sounds, is actually not that difficult. It's not a big deal to start and build the freeway because our goal was to make things easy.
Yeah, I think for anybody who has FreeQ experience should be able to pick this up really easily.
Yeah. I know, Sam and Nicholas, you did a pretty good job. I mean, you just opened it and you did it. Yeah,
Yeah, we have already built a few networks that we are working on
yeah,
FreeQ. So yeah, so Alex saw those models.
So I'll just add that so far, as Diane said, the software we've been presenting it as we build it, and we've been focusing to begin with on the network. The first couple webinars, this one we went to controllers and we're sort of tickling at simulation, and well, still nothing all that interesting. But next time, we're going to have actual results with plots and contour plots and that sort of thing. And that's where I think the sparks are going to start to fly, where people will start having opinions about the way the simulation looks, and that you might want to be prepared for that by having built your own simulation networks and tried it out and so forth. That's, I think, starting next webinar is where we're really going to get into the actual meat of the thing. And again, so we're offering our help to bring you up to date, but it's kind of like a first come first serve situation.
It is true. It is first come, first serve, and also the reason why we keep asking about one-on-ones is that I'm not tired to emphasize that what we want in terms of the feature implementation in OPT is actually something that is relevant for your particular district, so that if you open the tool, you will find there the correct ramp metering or the correct managed lane policy that you are familiar with because it is implemented in your district or it is going to be implemented in your district, and you want to see what potential impact of that implementation will be. So that's why. Uh, and it's an opportunity actually for you to request that we want this or that, because you lose this opportunity, then the tool will come out and it won't be useful for you, and unfortunately then it will be a loss of time. So um, I think we said enough. I think what Gabriel mentioned regarding the next time we will have already some simulation results that will be presentable in the tool itself. So this may be a good time to invite a wider session rather than just a user group and TAC, and show that this is where we are heading. Uh, this is what you will be able to expect and solicit requests, because we do not want to end till the end of the project, because if all of a sudden we will get some requests closer to the end of the year, we won't have time to implement anything, right, Diane? So
Yeah, I was on mute. Yes,
yeah,
that's true. So I think this is the time or in the next few weeks to open it up and try to engage more people.
right. And also, Diane will contact you and ask you whether to have one-on-one. So between Gabriel and I, we are ready to have one-on-one sessions with anyone who wants it, just to ask to hear out your concerns, questions, and also wishes, what what you want to be there and what you want to be done. Uh, One thing that was not here on the list that we are going to implement in OPT Uh, uh, so on this level, on the scenario level, where it says later this area will be used to display the road network, here you will be seeing the schematic of the road network, which is currently not there, but it will be. This is one other thing that I heard from somebody, 7 or 5, who mentioned that they wanted to see this full network, which will be helpful. One other thing that I mentioned in the beginning of our session that we would address the wish list of District 5. I think Sam and Nicholas, let us just have another private session so that we do not hold other people to discuss this key square or whatever.
I swear.
I-square.
Yes, yes, right. Uh, Algorithm that helps compare the target contours with what simulation spits out, if I understand correctly what that is supposed to do, right?
Yeah, we should do it offline separately.
Let's do it offline because otherwise we will bore everyone.
Right.
Sounded a little bit like voodoo to me, by the way.
It's not really voodoo. Once you understand the chi-square methodology, it's actually pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. I know the chi-square, but I guess they play with volumes and so on, but let's not waste everybody's time.
Right.
Alex.
Yeah, free Q is based on speed. Using the chi-square methods, using free flow speed and the predicted speed. So.
Yeah.
My final comment is about the upcoming meetings of TAC. Again, provided that we wanted to have another webinar for a wider audience, that may happen. But in terms of the feature deliveries, this is the rough schedule of what we expect to have. So I think next TAC meeting will be in April, when we will, like Gabriel mentioned, already show the simulation runs, and more user experience and more user features will be done between April and June. And so summer will be already a working product. It's kind of an alpha version. And after that, we will finalize things that will be just for user convenience, like importing, exporting files, maybe setting up default values, and so on. Questions, comments?
One quickie for you, Alex. Didn't you tell me you're going to also do something with District 7?
Yes,
Hey, Alex, this is Andy. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Oh, here's
yes,
Andy.
totally.
Yeah.
Oh, finally. Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, this is Andy from District 7. Yeah, I'm sorry about it. I have some audio issues, so I finally decided to call in. I can fix my speaker. Yeah, I will try to, Alex and I, we talked, and we did a project along 405, and pretty much we're using the HCS doing the quick analysis, but I guess this is a saturated environment, and the outcome from the HCS doesn't reflect the existing situation. So, Alex, I will send you the project description, the file. Maybe you can take a look. You know.
Yes, definitely. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And by the way, Andy, so I don't know if you could hear us when we talked about.
Yes.
We
Yes.
asked
I just not able to.
and also think about what Tarek just suggested regarding sitting together. So we will, first of all, we will take a look at your 405 project,
Okay.
and then we will make some initial steps, and then maybe somebody can come and sit with you in your office and just help you out with that.
Okay. All right.
Andy, I would also suggest, if you're okay with it, and Diane and everybody else is okay, I know District 7 has a modeling forecasting group, or at least they used to. We may want to get somebody from there to also attend, because if they get experience with OPT, then they can support other people. So it doesn't have to be just Andy, the expert. It could be within the forecasting group itself.
Okay. Yeah,
Which
well,
speaks to
I
your
am
point,
in the I am in the forecast group.
Oh, you are? Okay, I thought
Yeah.
you were in
Yeah.
operations. Sorry.
No, so we're
Yeah,
dealing with
yeah.
the SCAD model. You know, we kind of right now we have to kind of merge the SCAD model with the operation. It start tightening up closer and closer. You know.
That's almost impossible, right? I mean, we work with Skag a lot, SMG, actually the last two RTPs, and travel demand models will allow you to put volume to capacity of 1.2.
The SCAD model, the purpose SCAD model is actually for air quality, and
Exactly.
you need to use the additional mathematical model to somehow to convert the air quality model into
an operations.
the operation. So.
In the past, and this is just for everybody who may be interested, in the past, what we've done, and before OPT existed, during the CSMP age, we take the SCAG model data and put it on the freeway that we're doing the CSMP for, and we'd have to reduce the demand significantly because this is a demand model, not a traffic model. So there is no way to push all the demand that SCAG model tells you is going to go through at certain locations. And then when we calibrate it correctly, then we can do operational analysis. So it's very challenging.
Yes.
And yet it's the official model that you have to use for PADs, which is
that's the only model that's available.
Okay. And Kuhong, same with you. If somebody in District 4, Mike Kearns was originally involved before when he was at MTC. If you can ping him, maybe, or I can ping him to see if he's interested in one-on-one, we can do that too. I know you don't have a mic, so just saying that.
Okay, with District 4, I think we will ping them more intensely. So we need some engagement from like with District 7 we have contact, District 5 we have, and then maybe District 11 and
Maurice did not join today, right? But he was there on a couple of our earlier calls, right, Dan?
Yes.
So maybe we want to
where
ping him too.
these people are. Yeah.
And I don't know if District 12 was ever.
I don't think they have a forecasting group. I'm not sure though. Don't call me.
They have one. They have Cameron Palm. They have kind of a one-person modeling group.
Oh, that's a lot of modeling one person has to do.
Well, he's quite capable, but yeah, it is.
So Diane, are you going to follow up with this kind of proposition to everybody and maybe also have the talk with Alex and try to figure out how do we invite a bigger audience?
Yes. So the action items for me are try to recruit people for one-on-one sessions.
Yes.
And try to expand the user group. And reach out to districts and find out what ramp metering algorithms they're using, and also see who has free queue models that they want converted to OPT. And that could be part of reaching out to a broader user group.
That's right. And Tarek, maybe can I ask you to reach out to District 4 because you know people.
Yeah, I will try to reach out. And Kuhong, I don't want to go around you. I think Kuhong may have logged out. But I may try Kuhong first, just because he's the representative, and see if he's willing to contact Mike Kearns or somebody else. And if I cannot get it through him, maybe I'll contact Mike Kearns directly, or maybe even Caesar.
Yes. Okay. Good.
Okay.
All right. So I think that is it. So we finished earlier today. Thank you again, everyone, for attending and for the feedback.
Great.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you very
Thanks a
much.
lot.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.